Well, I'm going to tell you like this. There were a lot of rappers who had their own promotional companies or in charge of record labels back in the, I would say, the early 2000s. Like you had Uptown Records, you had Elektra, Busta Rhymes. You had a bunch of guys who were in charge of record labels and record companies that normally were owned by wealthy, rich Jewish men. All of a sudden, blacks started heading up their own company. They started coming out with their own clothing lines and doing their own things and creating jobs, and the business was flourishing. But once you start seeing the head of the president of the corporation leave and the black guys was getting those jobs, or the artists were becoming the president of the companies, that was the telltale sign. The writing was in the air and on the wall. You see what I'm saying? Because you got to look at it like this. When the writing was on the wall for something, they don't mind blacks having it. They don't. When they feel it's something that they don't want no more, you can have it. When the president of the United States, Barack Obama, became president, I said, uh-oh, they don't want it no more. Whenever they start letting other people become, now look what happened. Who follows him? Donald Trump. They don't care about president of the United States no more. Now you're going to have a famous athlete be president now. Now you're going to have rappers being president. That's when they don't care no more. So you start to see what? All these things fold. You say, man, what's going on here? What's happening? They folding up. This company over here is folding. That company over here is folding. This record label fold. They all got bought out. To now, all of those things are right back to three umbrellas that's running everything. They bought up all the music, all the rights. People were like, wait a minute, what happened? Why we out in the cold? What happened? How did we see this coming? There were people that were trying to tell you this was going to happen. And you ain't listen to them. You listen to the other man. Other man said, look, I can get you Budweiser. I can get you Heineken. I can get you all these sponsors that's willing to throw down millions of dollars. Put you in charge. All you cared about was studio costs, running studios, taxing budgets, skimming off other artists that you bringing along. You never could see the bigger picture. And because you couldn't see the bigger picture, it's why you out of the picture. And the ones that survived, it's because they played ball. Everybody who didn't play ball or didn't see it coming, they're not valuable to the movement. How come we don't hear too much of nothing about Guru and Gang Starr? They were pioneers just as much as Rakim was. They were pioneers just as much as Cool G Rap. There were people trying to be more like them in the game. But we don't hear too much about Guru and Gang Starr. They just etched them out of hip-hop history, basically, and said, well, that's it. The Jazzmatazz series, Volume 1, Volume 2, you know, keeping the history and the art of the music alive, and you guys just let things happen under your watch. So it's like, man, everybody's got to look at each other. If somebody score an 80-yard touchdown and then nobody there to touch them when they go in the end zone, You guys is in the backfield. You all looking around, looking to see if there's some imaginary guy to blame. Y'all all looking at each other, pointing the finger like, I thought you had it. No, I thought you had it. And this is why artists can't go gold in their own neighborhood no more. Like I said, Redman them, they didn't even need to tour. They was cool at home. They was gonna sell 500,000 right out of New Jersey, New York. Somebody on that block can just sell 500,000 records, period. So, I mean, pretty soon people got to start saying, man, what happened? Oh, they took you under. You took yourself under. You let it happen under your watch. So if hip-hop was your baby and your baby got corrupted and end up in the streets banging and doing all kind of stuff and you try to act like you don't know what happened, you the father. You the parent. Hip-hop was in your house. You helped raise it. You was a part of it. What's going on? What you mean you're just going to be oblivious to it and then criticize it for being what it is? Can't do that. Can't do that. This thing was screwed up from the jump and you saw it going here, but you didn't intervene. You didn't do anything. You didn't discipline. You didn't do any of the things that you needed to do or have a backbone when it was time to be. You just saw the dollars. So the point of this conversation is, because I had to answer the questions, the guy was like, what you expect us to do? What did I expect you to do? Y'all didn't have no power, so what did you expect us to do? You had power. See, you just didn't understand it and didn't know that you had it. They knew what you had, but they also knew you didn't understand what you had. So they had to figure a way to take it from you so they can have power again. So now you don't have power right now. You are absolutely correct. Right now you have zero power over something y'all created. But you did. Rap is a John Doe business. And now it is a multi-billion-dollar business. Okay? That means when they say John Doe business, that means it came from scratch. It didn't come from any other thing before it. No one owned it. No one had a patent on it. No one had any type of... It's a John Doe from the scratch. So because it's a John Doe business, no one wanted to even get a part of it. They didn't even want to unify with hip-hop. It was done. So it was ours anyway. Like, cool, we don't want you in it. Then it proved it can make hundreds of millions of dollars. People like, this is the new wave. Why? Because they had the children. The parents didn't like it, but the children loved it. They had to shut it down. They got politicians involved. They was like, look, I'm paying you this money. This stuff has affected our household. But you know what? It's affecting that politician's household too. His kids love it. Why? Because all the other kids love it. So the white kids want to like it because all the black kids like it. The Hispanics like it because everybody else is like it. They like the music. They like the song. It's catchy. It don't have a race on it. It has a skill on it. It's unifying. Everybody dancing to it. Everybody singing it. It's in the entire school. It's diversified. Now you have a situation where you can't shut it down. The people that used to love it didn't quite love it no more, did they? They got older. Nobody really wanted to see them. And then here come a new group. And then here come a new thing to like. And then those guys who were little kids who loved hip-hop when they were growing up, those white kids who had dads who had money, those guys wanted to get into the business, and then they grew out of hip-hop. They was like, oh, well, I grew up. I don't listen to that no more. But then some, they still remember their favorites. Some of them grew up, they were teenagers when Master P was doing, and they still got their tank collection. They could sit here and spit a Master P song better than I could ever spit it. Because that's was their era. That was their high school years. That was them. Make them say, that was their high school graduation. So they had all these hip hop in their school songs. Wasn't like it was in the old days. So this is where they're coming from. It's a whole different type of energy and a whole type of movement that was going on. So now they had no choice but to get involved. It's like, look, let's get involved, get this around the rings, and let's get this money. If it makes money, it's making sense. And once rap start making billions of dollars in the late 90s, and they was like, whoa, this is $1 billion business now? Oh, okay, we got to get the reins on this quick. Because these rappers are broke. But they don't even know how much money they're generating. If they ever figure that out, we're in trouble. Let's get the reins on this thing right now. Try to control it and bring this thing down. Because they're selling Sheryl Crow type records. Selling 5 million, 6 million records. That couldn't happen. Then you got rappers selling 10 million, going diamond. Them Shania Twain type numbers. They like, wait a minute. How dare this music start doing this? So they cornered the market. You think the sales just stopped? No, they cornered the market. The Dukes have cornered the market. They took out your mom and pop stores. They took out all of those outlets that help generate to the public. Destroyed black businesses. So all those little record companies you own, little record imprints, they had to close down. They couldn't function anymore. So when you look at the bigger picture is you're losing and they're winning. So you got to step your game up and get in the game. You're not in the game. But right now, is the music business what you really want to get into? Because right now, it's just a singles game. No one's going to remember you after that first single. So if you don't have a like 8, 9, 10 hit singles, you ain't going to be around long. And we went over this 1,000 times, guys. How many times we seen them come along with them one hit singles that the song was hot, but they didn't have the second one was like, nah. So it is what it is. It's your boy Carcino. I'm out. Deuces.